So in this beginning stage of the research, one of the first questions that we needed to look at was what is an innovative learning environment? Not just what we think the definition is as academic researchers, but how teachers identify the different elements of their spaces, the words that they use, and then also the feelings and attitudes towards each of these different things. So rather than showing the beautiful photos of the well-designed furniture in the classrooms and the fun demonstrations of what the really nice, beautifully designed furniture could look like, we use these more craft materials so that teachers would have more freedom to explore what their space currently looks like, what it could look like, and to compare different models of that. And as you can see, these are childish, fun materials that everybody felt comfortable starting to model and visualize. Because as you started to model and visualize their classrooms, they started to talk about what was positive, what was negative, what was working, and it gave them something visual to contrast to other teachers from other schools, and it gave some teachers a chance to sit next to their principals as well and start modeling and saying, this is what our classroom is like, but this is how I have to rearrange it, and this is what the furniture is. And it gave them the freedom to represent different elements of their classroom, both physical and experiential, so ways that students were interacting together. We started dissecting this, and we used all of this information to kind of start having to compare what the teachers believed about learning and what they actually did, exposing the differences between beliefs about how students learn best and about what good teaching practice is with what was actually happening in their classroom, so that we could start to uncover some of those differences and then have group discussions around why are there differences between what you believe to be good about teaching and what your learning environment currently allows you to do. Now, if I asked everybody in this room right now, without knowing each other, without knowing me, just share, what do you believe about learning? What do you hold to be true? What is at the core of your teaching practice? It can be an intimidating question. As we started sharing these stories, we realized the power of these kind of fun, playful, visual methods of introducing this research topic and talking to teachers. So this was a workshop where we had teachers illustrating what they believed about deep learning, what they thought deep learning was, writing stories about what had happened in their classroom. And then we invited them to actually start modeling scenarios and discussing it and labeling what about the physical space would be contributing to the deep learning, what are the students doing, what are the interpersonal activities that are happening, and then really importantly, what is the role of the teacher in this? Where does the teacher come in? If the teacher comes in different areas in the model that they're creating, how would it change the type of teaching and learning that's happening? Something that was interesting was, this was one of the workshops. We did these workshops in Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane, Auckland, and Christchurch. And it was often with teachers that worked at different schools. It was sometimes with teachers with their principals at their table, but this was allowing them to have a fun, maybe a little bit more candid discussion than they would normally have. And it was also providing the opportunity to learn from different teachers at different schools. So in this one, we noticed that one of the most important things that was happening was teachers were sharing their approaches to working in their innovative learning environment with each other as they were modeling. So you would have one teacher saying, no, because we always have that one student that goes off into the corner, and they would visually create that scenario, and we'd have a different teacher saying, oh, when that happens, here's what I do. And they would use the material that we had provided to kind of model that learning scenario. And you would have teachers kind of critiquing each other's practices and offering suggestions in a way that didn't feel like professional development. It felt and looked like a game.